Hey everybody, welcome to quadrangles, or as their more familiar name, quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals, the same thing. Quadrangle, you got four angles. Quadrilaterals, your lat muscles, means your sides. So quadrangles, four angles, quadrilaterals, four sides. It's a four-sided shape. Okay, so I built this little family tree to kind of show us where everything belongs and to see all the different rules for all of our quadrilaterals. So a quadrangle or a quadrilateral, any four-sided shape, okay? So everything, this is like the Zeus, this is the god of everything. That's the number one rule of everything below us, it's got to have four sides. So when I pop these balloons, every single thing below here has to have four sides. But then they fall into their own little categories. We're going to slide down this family tree branch first to the parallelogram family. Everything underneath this parallelogram family is part of the parallelogram family, because the rule to be a parallelogram means you have to have two pairs of parallel sides. Okay? So a parallelogram, two pairs of parallel sides. That object right there. These two sides are parallel, these two sides are parallel. So when I say two pairs of parallel sides, I mean 2 and 2. I have a lot of kids that might say, it has four parallel sides. Four parallel sides would be impossible. That would mean, here's my shape, because all the sides are parallel. That's impossible. You can't have that. So you have two pairs of parallel sides. Okay? Now we slide down a little bit further and we have different branches. You'll see each of these next two shapes also have two pairs of parallel sides because they're part of the parallelogram family. I'm going to go down the one that's more familiar to me, which is the rectangle. This one has two pairs of parallel sides, but it also has an extra rule. To be a rectangle, you have to have two pairs of parallel sides, and you have to have four 90-degree angles. And there's our rectangle. Looks a little bit like the parallelogram, but we've got that extra rule, four 90-degree angles. Now our rhombus here also has two pairs of parallel sides, but that rule is all the sides are equal. So I call this one, it's kind of like a leaning square. That's what it kind of looks like. Okay? Now, we talk in class, we say, let's pretend that the rectangle's the dad and the rhombus is the mom. If they had a baby, the baby would be square because that baby square has all the rules of mom and dad. So if you look here, it has two pairs of parallel sides, just like mom and dad do, but all sides equal. It only got that part from its mom's side. Four 90-degree angles, it only got that part from its dad's side. So it's kind of a combination of these two. But all of these shapes fall under the family of parallelograms. Every single one of these is a parallelogram. So if I gave you a question on a test, I would say, is a rectangle a parallelogram? Yeah, it is. How do I know? Because that's the rule to be a parallelogram, two pairs of parallel sides. It follows that rule. Okay? Now I call these guys, the not a parallelogram group, I call these guys the weirdos. I have an uncle that's kind of a weird guy that shows up at parties and acts all kinds of crazy. So these are the guys that are like, oh, who are those guys? Because they don't fit any of this parallelogram family. So I look here and I say a kite. Well, it's not a parallelogram. What kind of rules does a kite follow? Well, it has two pairs of equal sides, but the equal sides touch each other. So if I look, I have two short sides. Hey, that's just like a parallelogram here. It has two short sides. But the difference is, these two short sides touch each other. Oh, over here the two short sides are away from each other. Down here, two long sides, but they touch each other. Up here, the two long sides don't touch each other. So a kite's one of our weirdos, okay? Two short sides, two long sides, but they have to touch each other. The next one is our trapezoid. To be a parallelogram, you have to have two pairs of parallel sides. To be a trapezoid, you have one pair of parallel sides. And I also tell them the weird thing about the trapezoid is he can look like this, but he could also look like this. It's kind of like putting a rectangle and a triangle together. But that's a trapezoid because this side is parallel to this side. This side is parallel to this side. So these are all the quadrilaterals. You can pause this video so you can take a look and see all the different families and see all the rules, and hopefully that helps you get familiar with who belongs with who. Is this guy a parallelogram? Is a square really a rhombus? You can talk about those rules together.